America's tourism crisis nobody's talking about. Foreign visitors are abandoning the U.S. in record numbers.
So, y'all know them travel advisory reports that the United States loves to push out, basically telling us to not go to certain places because they're violent or it's not safe. Yeah, so the Department of Commerce has now issued a report showing a growing list of countries advising their citizens to not come to the United States, to not come and visit the United States. Yeah, now we are not the safe country.
Australia, Canada, Germany, Denmark, France, the UK, and Finland all just issued travel advisory warnings against the United States. They don't think that it's safe for people from their country to travel to this hellhole, and they are absolutely right. Are we great yet? Is it cool when other countries are terrified of having their citizens visit here because they might end up in prison, and maybe they'll get murdered in a U.S. prison like that Canadian did just a couple of weeks ago, which I'm sure everyone's already forgotten about because every day is full of so much terrible news we can't even keep up with it.
Tourism is at an all-time low in America as we speak right now. Flights going into America are going in empty, and those coming out of America are coming out full. So it's kind of a situation whereby Americans are fleeing out of their country and relocating to other countries because they're not coming out of America going into other countries as tourists, because their economic situation cannot even allow most of them to tour other countries. Anyway, that is a situation that kind of raises eyebrows. Why are things happening this way, and how will America be able to overcome all this that's going on? In this video, we will talk about all that. But before we do that, I am your presenter Kachina, and if at all you'll enjoy the video, then please give it a thumbs up and also consider supporting this channel by subscribing, because according to statistics, 90% of my viewers have not subscribed. So if you're here for a second time, then please consider subscribing to this channel, and that way you'd have supported the channel. Otherwise, let's get to see the situation first, and then we'll come back and have a pretty little discussion about it.
Hey guys, I'm here in the Orlando airport, and there's not a single soul in here. Guys, airports are 24/7. I don't think you have ever seen this in Orlando. This is like one of the most busiest. Oh my God, look at this. I could show you down the hallway. Nobody, guys. I have never seen this before in my life. Look at this, the tram, not a single soul. Guys, this is scary. Anyways, guys, I just thought I'd tell you, this is one of the most busiest airports because of Disney, obviously, right? Disney. Guys, there's nobody in here. Everything is closed down. What's going on? This is the first time I've ever seen this in my life. Guys, let me know in the comments if you ever seen the Orlando airport, Orlando, this dead before. Guys, this is scary. Anyways, guys, I am filming this. Look at this. Look at the tram. Not a single soul. Guys, there's nobody waiting in the hallways. There's nobody in the restaurants. Everything is closed. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of scared. I gotta go. All right, bye.
Visitors are even being told by their home countries to take their vacations and money elsewhere.
Do you feel like your friends and family feel comfortable traveling there?
No, nobody I know back in England or here.
And then the police can take them and just take them to a country outside the States, and then they're not a protected citizen anymore.
Horror stories are emerging of treatment at the border, with one story so shocking it's got many asking if America is still safe.
I think the atmosphere is changing there, so I would prefer to go there. I'd probably stay in Europe.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So tourism season is upon us. And I can tell you what the United States is seeing. The United States is seeing a huge dramatic drop in international visitors to the United States. Now, those visitors contribute millions to billions of dollars of tourism dollars all across the United States, and specifically heavily in Florida, because everybody undoubtedly in Europe thinks that Florida is that Disneyland is the greatest place in the world to go. I don't understand that, but Florida's getting hammered on the tourism end, but it's also across the entire United States. Now, 18 million jobs are in the tourism industry. And when you're starting to lose billions of dollars, what you're going to do is you're going to lose jobs. You're going to lose revenues for small businesses. You're going to lose hotel motel taxes that support some things in local government. So the real deal is here. The world doesn't want to come to the United States, which has always been one of the top tourist destinations in the world. We're going to lose that title this year, and we know who we can owe that to. Congratulations on reducing the income for businesses that rely on tourism.
First of all, the political stance of a president in a country really has influence or impact on the country's foreign affairs or foreign relations. A case in point, take the case whereby Donald Trump, take how Donald Trump acted against Iran when, take how Donald Trump opted to bomb Iran or the so-called Iranian nuclear weapon sites. That really had a very negative impact as far as America's foreign relations are concerned. Now, this, however much it seemed like a very small thing, it's something that has really caused so much outrage with other countries. There are some countries that did not take it quite okay. It did not sit well with them. But that's an act that I wouldn't want to defend personally, but I think it's one of the things, for example, that has just kind of influenced America's tourism in a negative way. And it's something that is as a result of the president's political stance, and normally that usually affects a country's foreign relations. And that's why US relations with some countries that usually provide tourists to the American market is not quite okay.
On tourism, there's been a steep drop off in international travel to the United States. It was down 12% last month, down even more from Western Europe. Why do you think that there are fewer people suddenly who want to travel to the United States?
Well, there could be a little, there's a little nationalism there, I guess, perhaps. It's not a big deal. And our dollar is a little bit on the low side, and that means that a lot of tourism is going to come in. But I could see a little bit nationalism at work, and I could see it likewise with us not wanting to go to certain countries, but that will work out very easily.
Do you think some people are scared to come here because they hear the stories of tourists who are detained for a few days or even a week or two?
No, we treat our tourists great. We're the tourism capital of the world. There's no place like this. And there may be a little bit of nationalism, but I doubt it.
And remember, tourism in America is quite a big deal. It's something that kind of brings so much money to the American economy. These tourists coming in from all parts of the world do come with their money, which they pump into the American economy. And remember, this is happening just before America hosts the World Cup. And we'll be expecting to see the whole world coming into America just to watch the World Cup. And investors or American investors who have invested in America are really looking forward to this event. And with this kind of things happening, I don't think it will go well for them as far as things sit right now, because airports are kind of empty, and most investors who have invested in the tourism sector in America, they are worried. People who are in the tourism sector right now are not having it easy.
The White House was recently bragging that border crossings are at an all-time low. Why is that? Oh, that's right, because no one's coming to America anymore. You know, our current government isn't exactly the friendliest of people that don't speak the King's English. It's not just illegal border crossings that are down. International tourism in the United States has fallen like a rock. In March, overseas arrivals dropped by more than 11% compared to the year before. Western Europe saw a 17% decline. The Americas down 24%. Flights that used to be packed are now running real light. The reason behind these declines is pretty and simple. The global perception of the United States has changed recently since the election. His threats, along with horror stories of travelers to the States, have led European nations, along with Canada, to issue travel advisories to the United States. These tourists no longer feel safe or welcome by our current government. This isn't just about the loss of tourism. Those tourists bring jobs, and those jobs are going to be lost, along with tips, and the businesses are going to struggle. Some of them are going to close. Cities like Orlando, New York, Las Vegas are already feeling the effects of the lack of travelers. If this trend continues, the U.S. could lose up to $180 billion in GDP by June of 2026. It's not just immigrants that aren't coming anymore. No one wants to come here.
So I did a thing today. Actually, I canceled a thing today. Have a look. Yeah. In April, I was supposed to go to New York for a vocal workshop with a bunch of people, and I canceled the trip today. Canceled my trip. I just, as a Canadian, in good conscience, I just couldn't justify going. Now, there's a bunch of different reasons, but I saw what happened to Jasmine Mooney, and I'm seeing videos about when you go to the border, they're checking everything, and I just, my spidey senses just started tingling. And I don't know, call it intuition, I don't know what it is, but there's something that I just didn't feel right about. Not to mention how Canada is being treated, and it sucks. I love New York. It's like one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world, and the people are great, and the food's great, the history's great, and everything's great. And it sucks. I want to go so bad, and I love all the Americans, the Blue Dots, who have been so supportive of Canada during this time, but I just couldn't do it. So it sucks. I canceled it today, so here we are. But you know what, New York? In the words of Jonathan Groff of Hamilton, you'll be back. Soon you'll see, and I can't wait. Someday. I'll come back someday, New York. But yeah, cancel my trip. Apples up.
There are videos of Americans on social media, videos of Americans ranting and crying about their economy and how expensive life is are all over. You cannot scroll on Instagram without coming across a video of an American crying about the cost of living in America and crying about how America is now becoming a third world country for most Americans. There's a video here on YouTube that has gone viral that talks about that kind of thing, the thing being America being a third world country to most Americans. Now, these kind of videos are watched by people in other countries. You should know that. And it kind of shapes how these people who are potential tourists, it shapes how they view America. And while it shapes how they view America, it kind of has an impact on the number of visitors who come into America. I do some videos here on this platform, and I usually get some comments from people who are potential tourists claiming that because of such a video I won't be visiting such a country, or because of this video I won't be visiting UK, for example. I understand currently there are so many videos of UK citizens crying about the Muslim takeover, whereby Muslims are kind of taking over the country and they want Sharia laws to be legalized. Those kind of videos do have impact as far as the videos are being watched by citizens in other countries. It kind of shapes what they think about the country.
This is the second part video to my experience with being held in a federal prison overnight. Obviously spent the night in prison. I barely slept. I was very anxious. I didn't know, I couldn't have any contact with the outside world, so I had no idea whether my mum knew where I was, if anybody knew that I was being deported. So it was one of those situations where you have no control, you don't know what is going on, and if I'm being quite honest with you, I didn't even know if I was going to get out the next day. I kept having to ask people like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I remember just being in this headspace of like, I'm going to be sent somewhere and I'm never going to get out of this situation. Another thing that was really hard for me to comprehend at the time, and it was something that I just was not understanding, was when I was being processed in custody, the officer told me, which was they were part of the jail. So at this point, the CBP officers had left and I was just talking to the prison officers, and he told me, like, don't worry, you're not getting a criminal record, you're not being charged with anything, you're not under arrest. And I remember sitting there saying, like, if this is the case, why am I here for? Like, I'm in prison. I am being cavity strip searched, I'm being fingerprinted, photos are being taken of me, I'm signing documents. Like, why am I being processed in a jail for? Like, what you're saying and my environment, they're just not making sense and they're not lining up. So it was something that was like, that's why when I was in the prison, I didn't believe that I was going to be getting out the next day, because I'm like, oh, this is wild. Like, none of this makes any sense. So after spending the whole night in prison, I was then picked up by CBP officers the next day, taken back to the airport. I was handcuffed again and walked through the airport. So the exact same process occurred. And then I was put into a room until I had to board my flight at 12 p.m. I was flying Hawaiian Airlines. And I still hadn't spoken to my family up until a few hours before I boarded the plane. And that was because my family called the CBP office. So after all those hours, no Border Patrol official person had reached out to my mom or reached out to my husband and said, hey, this is where your daughter's been taken overnight. Like, they had not said anything. They have not said a word. There is a lot more that I want to add into these videos, but for now, I just wanted to pretty much explain what happened to me upon me leaving the airport and arriving at prison. There are a lot of different interactions that occurred while I was in there, but I just wanted to outline like the process and what happened from the airport to the prison.
The craziest news of the day is coming out of Aria, guys. Aria Hotel and Casino, Aria Resorts. This hotel in Las Vegas really charged their guests $26 for a bottle of water that they put inside the mini fridge in the room. And exact same water sells for just $7 downstairs at Starbucks, or just $4 at CVS right outside the hotel. And it is 24-hour CVS. You can buy the entire case of water for $10 from CVS. And this guest paid $26 for one bottle of water. And the crazy part is he had no idea how much that water cost. He found out about it after the fact when the mini bar lady showed up to his hotel to restock. Now he's making them regret by dragging them all over social media, from Reddit to Twitter to TikTok. Every social media has this one as their top story. Even Las Vegas Review Journal is covering it. That is the biggest newspaper in Las Vegas is covering this story. Now you see all these hotels complaining about how tourism is down, and then they do stuff like this, and then they act surprised when people don't want to come back. There really is no justification for this except the fact that these corporations being extremely greedy, because this is the kind of price that you normally see at the high-end nightclubs, where they will justify high prices by telling you they have to pay their celebrity DJ or the artist and the venue. It's a lot of things that go into it. But this is just a normal hotel room, a normal mini fridge, and you just wanted some water and they are punishing you for it. I hope they issue an apology and refund this guy his money, because this is not right. This is not good. If it is so expensive for them to provide this service, why not just completely not do it? That way the guest actually knows there's no fridge or water in the room, and they make sure to get water before they come back to their room. And now the guest is pissed, and now everybody hates your hotel, and I don't think this is a good business.
Here's some Las Vegas breaking news that hasn't made the news yet. MGM Resorts just told all of their concierge employees across all of their properties, with the exception of Aria and Bellagio, that they are being laid off. This is a couple weeks after laying off the valet, doorman, and bellman at Excalibur, and announcing the closure of the Luxor Buffet. We know that travel and tourism is down. Aside from global issues and the Canadians boycotting us, many Americans fear that we are headed for a recession and they are tightening up their spending. But what's going on at MGM feels a little bit bigger than that. Multiple executives in recent months have resigned or are rumored to be considering resignation, with small downsizings and rumors of more occurring at multiple properties. This is after raising resort fees and parking fees twice in 2024. Fees keep going up and amenities are being scaled back. It feels like everyone's trying to be tight-lipped about this, but I think we need to talk about it. Are more layoffs coming? Is this a sign of the times? Let me know what you think.